Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Imaginarium Art Aquaman. This is a 1/3 scale resin statue, and this is that thing that was in that giant box that you saw in the video the other day. It's massive, it's humongous. The box it came in was just incredibly large, and obviously because it's a really large statue, they had to put a lot of foam and stuff in there to make it secure. But so as far as the statue goes, once it's out of the box and you assemble it, we have a few different pieces. So the first piece obviously is Aquaman himself. He is all one piece. I still have a little bit of dust from the styrofoam on there, so just ignore that. So he's all one piece. He can come out completely. He has like a little peg for his butt that goes in the chair. The base of the chair is also all one piece. Also, I know the lighting's not great. This thing is just too big. I couldn't do it in my regular review station, so I'm going to be overlaying photos. So that'll work out that way. But the bottom of the chair is all one piece, and then the back of the chair is all one piece. And then each of these little claw things at the bottom here, whatever these are called, I guess they're just like lobster claws. Those are individual pieces, of course, also. And then lastly, we have the Trident, which is its own piece. I can pull that out and show you real quick what that looks like. And it's pretty massive. And that's what the top half looks like. Very cool, and you can put that in his hand, obviously, so that he's in his awesome pose. I wouldn't suggest you leave it out of his hand, or it would just look a little bit weird. So this thing is massive, like I said. It's a 1/3 scale statue, so if we measure from the tabletop to the top of his head, he is seated obviously, it's about 22 inches tall. So that's really big. You know, you guys have seen me review the 18-inch NECA action figures. This guy seated stands taller than they do standing. So that's a pretty cool, I know I said he's seated and stands taller, but whatever. It's humongous. It's just really big. And if you go from side to side, it's roughly 21 inches across, and roughly from front to back to the front of the claw is about 20 inches. So it's just really massive. The actual weight of the item is right around 87 pounds. That's a lot of weight for a statue. So it's really cool. If you're in the US and you want to get it, you can message them through their Facebook site. I'll link that in the description. I'll also link their website for those of you that aren't familiar. They make a lot of the large scale statues like this. So there's a lot of stuff to look at, so check that out. Okay, let me talk about the statue now. As far as the sculpt goes, I think it's pretty darn cool. Obviously, the whole sea life thing going on in his throne, it's pretty awesome. There's a ton of detail in there. You can see in the claw, you can see all like the cracked parts where he's apparently jammed his trident into it, which is pretty awesome. It looks cool. I'm a little bit worried that I can't tell if it's tooling marks or if it's just supposed to be the texture of the claw. So if it is the texture of the claw, then that's fine. Obviously, if it is tooling, it's a little bit of a disappointment, but it's not super noticeable. It's just in some little parts here and there, kind of like on the claw cracks and things like that. You don't really notice it unless you're looking for it. You can see under him at the bottom part of the chair is like the face of a crab or a lobster. I guess it's a crab. I'm not that familiar with my crustaceans. But it looks awesome. I mean, you can see the whole face in there, and it looks really cool. And there's like extra shell bits here and there, and you can see around the sides. There's all kinds of variation in the shells, like curly ones and spiky ones. And again, not familiar with my crustaceans, but it looks really cool. And on the other claw, you can see that it's kind of cut out for his foot, so it looks like he's got his foot rested on it. So that's pretty cool. And I know some people saw in like the earlier production photos that it looked like the foot wasn't going to be touching the claw, and it definitely can. You can adjust the claw back and forth however you want to make it sit comfortably on your table and with his foot, so you can get it so that the foot is actually touching the claw. And same thing for the open hand on the arm of the chair. You can definitely lean him the appropriate way to get his hand on the table, so he doesn't have hover hand. You don't want hover hand in your photos, guys. So the sculpt on the chair is just fantastic. There's so much going on. It's really freaking heavy. Like I said, it's 87 pounds, but just moving this thing around, you have to take it apart pretty much. At least take the claws out and take Aquaman out, and then good luck carrying it. I'm a large person who's fairly strong, and it's very difficult to move, so be aware of that. But it's such a cool display piece. As far as the paint on the chair goes, it's pretty darn awesome. I mean, there's blues and light blues and dark blues and purples and greens and whites. It's all kinds of shading going on, so it looks kind of like he's in his Atlantis throne room where there's all these different lights from the sea life kind of shining in on him. I don't know how to describe that, but you get the idea of him being underwater inside a room that's in like a giant aquarium type thing. So it's really cool, and I like the way they have the little, like they did a really good job with the little white specks all over the claws and things, so that's awesome. As far as the character, the figure himself, he's got a decent amount of sculpt work also. Even his pants, you can see like little wrinkles in his pants, and you can see that there's a little bit of texture in there also, which is different from the texture of his skin or anything, so it's not just happenstance. They actually textured it, so that's pretty darn cool. And you can, like I said, all the wrinkles and everything are nicely done, and you can see the musculature coming through. His belt is well detailed. It's got the little inset angular sculpted things. I don't know what you want to call that, but inside the main part of the belt, you can see that, in the obviously Aquaman logo on the center looks pretty good too. So that's nice. And then the scale mail on him, it's pretty good. You can tell that it's been done by hand because they're not all 100% symmetrical, and you know, they have to move around the body on the different musculature. So I think they did a really good job. You can see some parts where the scales are kind of sticking up more due to him being posed, and some where they're laying down more flat. But even with all of the scale mail, you can see very nice musculature throughout the figure. So it looks really good. And then the hands have texturing also, and you can see the little black line going around the glove, and just looks really, really nice. And then lastly, as far as the sculpt goes, we have the head, which I think is particularly nice. It has that very classic Aquaman look. Sorry, Jason Momoa, or I don't know, whatever his name is, but this is what Aquaman's supposed to look like, and they did a fantastic job sculpting that. I really like the way they did the hair. It's not the long hair version, so that's a bonus for me also. It just looks, it's really, really well done. It's got a nice kind of furrowed brow and kind of an angry look to him, but not quite angry, just angry enough that he's getting ready to do some damage with his dolphin buddies. So it's really nicely sculpted. As far as the paint goes, I think as cool as the chair is, and as cool as they did the shading in the pants, and there's kind of like shading throughout all of the orange metallic scale mail, as cool as all that stuff looks, this face is fantastic. It looks so natural and organic. A little bit of shading for the lips and around the eyes and eyebrows, and it's just so well done, and the eyes have a nice gloss coat on them to make them stand out. So I'm super pleased with this statue. I'm not even an Aquaman fan. You guys know that. I've said my fair share about Aquaman, but this thing's awesome. So if you are an Aquaman fan, this is something you want to pick up probably if you can fit it and afford it. It does run around, it was around $1,600, including shipping to the US. But like I said, it's massive, so you're definitely getting what you pay for. I mean, 90 pounds worth of statue, 22 inches to the top of his head. It's roughly the top of the throne. We are looking at about 26 inches, and then to the very top of his trident, we're looking at 37 inches. This is by no means a small collectible. Doesn't fit anywhere near where I want it to do the review normally, so unfortunately I had to do it in here with this odd lighting, but that's just a testament to how massive this thing is. So there it is, guys. I think this is an awesome piece, and if you're an Aquaman fan, you're definitely going to want to check this out. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.